Let's go.
Sync.
Yeah.
Yep.
Hi, Mom. I'm famous.
Hello and welcome to everyone to the first episode of OnlyFounders podcast. Today we have a LinkedIn specialist, an Excel specialist, kind of a LinkedIn influencer in a way, Richard Nero.
Hi, Richard.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm great. Thanks for having me.
Amazing. So, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, what you do?
So I've got a business called DevelopX, and we specialize in finance systems, delivering like Excel, large-scale finance systems change. And then I have a small team offshore that deliver like Power Automate, Power BI, those kind of automated solutions for clients. But then that's just the day-to-day stuff that I do for a living. But the fun stuff, I help out with TEDx Shoreditch. Shout out to Sabrina. She's the founder. That's really fun. So one of the jobs there was hearing all the TEDx speeches before they're performed live. So it's great because I get like a personal one-to-one conversation with each one of the speakers. And so I build a connection with each of them. What else do I do? I'm a director of a mentoring charity called the Mentoring Lab. Shout out to Elaine. She's the founder, black female, doing so much. So we work with 500 young people every single year. And these young people are on the toughest estates in London. You ever seen Top Boy?
Nope.
You need to watch that. It's basically like that. There's like guns, stabbings, shootings. Like there was one of the youth workers from around East London. One of them was killed a few weeks ago because they saw a young person getting into some trouble. She stepped in and stabbed and she died. So we do a lot of work with putting them through mentoring journeys. So we take corporates from big companies like Salesforce and I don't know, like these big banks, and then we partner them up with the young people and put them through a mentoring journey. But we also teach them how to be mentors. Okay, so I've seen it. I've seen 16-year-old young people go onto the estates where they've grown up and they're mentoring other young people in the area. So it's great. So you train one mentor to be a mentor, and then he's mentoring kids that will then hopefully mentor others, and it's like a positive, virtuous cycle.
So as someone who is a mentor, teaching people how to become a mentor, what are the key principles to becoming actually a mentor? Give us some of your secrets.
Oh, God, what are the key principles? I guess one of the key principles is no judgment, right? Don't judge them. Try not to tell people what to do. Rather, give them the options to choose, present opportunities for them to make the change themselves. I guess it's taken them for a journey about reflection to understand who they are, the kind of values they have, where they got those values from, and then try and make them understand what kind of values they want to attain and the route to get there. And it's also about setting achievable goals, smart goals, specific, measurable, accurate, realistic, and time-bound.
And if I reflect a bit, why is that a little bit important? Because if we look a little bit in our society right now, especially on TikTok and these young inspiring entrepreneurs and kids, let's say like entrepreneurs who just are waiting for an advisor, a mentor to just tell them what they want to be doing and just start with it. Why is that not, let's say, effective in the real world scenarios?
Why shouldn't people tell them what to do? Well, I can't tell some young person what their passion is, right? They need to find out what their purpose is and what their passion is and then follow their heart. I can't look into their heart and say what they should be doing. I can ask the right questions to guide them down that path, but I can't be the one to tell them specifically what to do. They need to discover that by looking within themselves.
How long have you been doing this, like mentor to mentor?
I've been doing mentoring for about 3 years, and so 3 years ago I was feeling a bit meh. Like I had a good job, beautiful girlfriend, kids, but I still was just kind of feeling a little bit unfulfilled. And I was reading this book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People.
Oh, yes.
Great book. Buy that book. One of the concepts is begin with the end in mind. And so he talks about going to a funeral. It's your funeral, Maria. You're dead. Okay. You go to your funeral. Who do you want to be there? Who do you want to be there? Do you want people from the community? Do you want what do you want your husband to say? So when I was doing this, I was like, I want people from the community to be there, and loads of people turn up saying, "Oh, Richard was a great person," and I was like, I'm not doing any community work. So if I want people from the community to turn up, I need to start reaching out to the community. And so I reached out to a number of different mentoring organizations, 3 or 4. And I had the first phone call with Elaine, the founder of the Mentoring Lab. Her energy, you could see the passion in her eyes. You could see that she was completely genuine. And I've been working with her for the last 2 or 3 years now. And it's a lot of fun. It's really rewarding.
Do you think you get, like, are you fulfilled with this, like, mentorship? You see it and you're like, yes, this is something that makes me happy.
Yeah, for sure. Because people always say, I want more money, but money can only get you so far. Like once you've got enough to pay the bills and you drive a nice car and you've got a motorbike and you go on these holidays, it kind of gets boring. Like everything fades eventually. And helping people, seeing somebody grow, like you can never get bored of that. You can never get bored of watching a young person who comes to you a little bit disorganized, not really sure of where they're going, they don't have any goals. And after 6 months, like this one young person that I was mentoring, I asked him to do a visualization. He's 15. I was like, imagine you're 21, okay? Imagine everything goes perfect for you right now. Where are you? He's like, okay, I'm in Cambridge University. Like, what are you wearing? I'm wearing nice clothes. Like, what kind of foods do you eat? I'm eating healthy. What kind of people are you hanging around with? I've got good friends. I've got good networks. Like, I'm supporting my mom. And it's like, yes. So I can't say that I made him that way, but to be an enabler or someone to help facilitate that journey, it is very rewarding, very rewarding.
I study a bit psychology and I'm really interested about the subject. And 2 years ago, I was actually studying psychology and philosophy in the same time, and I was studying what was the methodology of Freud. And basically, what I came up to reading is to be able to enable people to have self-discovery and know what their path is. You should just be able to guide them in the right path by asking them the right questions. Because you were talking about something really important about you cannot tell people what they want to do. But in hindsight, you can ask them the question and they would reply. You would just activate in a way their subconscious and they would find the way that they want to go in.
Yeah, completely agree. And the thing is, a lot of the places where these young people can go, the opportunities and kind of roles that they can go into, they don't know about them. So often the young people that need to hear about the opportunities the most don't hear about them. And so one of these young people that I was working for before, he didn't know about Big Four consultancy grad schemes. And so now he's trying to get into one of these big trying to get an Ernst & Young grad scheme. Like, he didn't know that vocabulary. And so by being exposed to someone like me who knows that kind of world and knows that vocabulary, I can share that with him, and now he's running with it.
I remember the day that I met you in a networking event at Rebel Meetups events. You taught me some stuff about LinkedIn. You seem to be an influencer on LinkedIn in a way. Could you give us a little bit about your tips on how to grow on LinkedIn, and why is LinkedIn important in a way?
Tips. I could talk all day about LinkedIn. Where do I start? Comments. Comments are the superpower. Comments allow you to interact with some of the greatest creators on the platform. Somebody posts, you like it. Don't write, thanks for sharing, or great, or something like that. Really add a perspective. Don't go onto ChatGPT, copy paste some long ass question that people can smell that a mile away. Really try to give your perspective. And also what's good is to ask a question. And not just a question to the person who posted it, but a question to the audience. Because as a creator, I want conversations going on in my posts because it's good for the algorithm. So if you ask a thought-provoking question, and then some of these bigger posts by people like Jasmine Alec, there might be 1,000 comments, all right? Hundreds of comments. So you don't have to post one comment. You can post multiple comments and have multiple conversations. And what that does is it exposes you to people outside of your network that you wouldn't normally come across with. And it can also establish you as a thought leader in your space without even posting. So there's one chap that I know through the data game, he's David Ballavoni. He didn't post for months and months and months, but he was well respected in the industry just because of his thought-provoking comments.
What would you tell someone that just started LinkedIn? For example, I just started linking like a month ago probably.
Okay.
Because I opened it and I was scrolling. This is intimidating. Like there's a lot of information. There's a lot of people, a lot of comments, and I'm just standing here like I don't know what to do. I don't know how to use it. So I connected with 33 people, and then I left it there for like months and months. What would you say, like for a beginner?
A lot of people will just connect with the people that they know, the people from their work, the people from their school. What I would suggest is to find your tribe. Find the content creators that lead your space. Connect with them and soak up as much information as you can from them. I learn so much from LinkedIn every single day. And so once you've identified who these top people are, one of the tips that I say is create a list of their profiles, like the URL, and then when you log in once a week, once a month, make an effort to click through each one and leave a comment. And by doing that, you will slowly end up building a relationship with some of the greatest creators on the planet. I've done it myself. And so that eventually when you need something, you need some help, you can call upon these people. And when you start thinking about making a post, I know it can feel like shouting into a room of strangers, but when you find your community, you can, instead of you feeling like shouting in a room of strangers, you feel like you're part of a community and you can find your voice. So just find that, I suggest you find your niche, find that one thing that you're good at or one thing you're really interested in, and just keep going with it. And it's key to be consistent, and consistency means different things to different people. One person I know posts once a month, and they'll just give them a little update about what they're doing. I know some guys who post every single day of the week, but it's just find your niche, find your tribe, find your community, and find that one thing that you want to talk about.
I started LinkedIn, let's say 1 year ago, and I got interested in LinkedIn literally 4 months ago in a way, because it has a lot of power and it helps a lot for branding. Let's say for someone that is starting in his entrepreneurial journey, or just like Maria who wasn't interested about LinkedIn in a way. Why in the beginning LinkedIn is interesting, and why is it a good platform to be present in?
You can connect with people very, very easily. And so even the big creators, right, we very rarely get nice, thoughtful messages. It's very rare that someone slides in my DMs and be like, hey, Richard, really like your content, blah, blah, blah. And you can just message these people very, very easily. And it's funny, like I got 20,000 followers, and maybe once a month I'll get like a nice, heartfelt message. So connecting with people, learning. So loads of people are posting stuff on LinkedIn that is insightful, it's engaging. You can learn so much from the content. And also, last question, last thing is, when you come to look for a job or look for work, LinkedIn is the place where it's okay to be sold. Like if someone slides in your DMs on Instagram and says, "Oh, I'm selling this," it's a bit like, "Ugh, what's going on here?" Like asking for jobs or offering jobs, you'll be weirded out. On LinkedIn, it's expected. It's the platform to sell. So if you do want to make money through your service or your product, LinkedIn is the place to do so.
What about like content? Like for example, I'm gonna be running like OnlyFounders media. Woo! So I'm the person behind your screen. But like Instagram, I'm comfortable with. Like I know to post memes, videos, reels, like all of this. However, LinkedIn, I'm like, I don't know. Should I post like a video or like a picture of my team or just like a case study? I know it's more about the audience, but how do I find the right content to post in LinkedIn?
But what's the message you're trying to portray?
So we're trying to portray like co-founders and how important is like a team to build your startup, early stage entrepreneurs, like tools, also like weekly events.
We're basically also trying to help in general early stage entrepreneurs to move from being a startup enthusiast, being a entrepreneur from graduating to uni or anything, to go to this intimidating world of the startups, fundraising, Series A, Series B, pre-seeds, all of these words that people sometimes don't understand, these legal stuff behind them. And also understanding a little bit more about LinkedIn, a little bit more about how to pitch in a way. So kind of in a way being a bridge between enthusiastic people and the startup world, and being that first push that gives them learning in a way.
Okay, so coming back to Mira's question about the type of content, there's different types of content, right? People come to be entertained and people come to be educated, and there's like the kind of if you think of an Venn diagram, there's a little bit in the middle. It's like edutainment, right? And so you can talk about your journey as a entrepreneur, and people don't just want to hear the good news stories. Yeah, we won this new client. Yeah, we got 10 million funding, but also talk about the late nights, talk about the struggles, talk about the self-doubt, talk about the imposter syndrome. People relate to people being real and vulnerable. And it's not Facebook, I know, but people relate to people and their emotions and their struggles, and to make you a bit more relatable and real. So you can talk about that stuff, but then you can also talk about the education piece. So what does it take to found a business? What do VCs want to hear? Do you need VCs? Maybe you want to bootstrap your business. How would you go about looking for angel investors? What does angel investing mean? And you can do that with a text-only post, or I'm a big fan of the carousels, which is like PDFs. Just get Canva and do that, and then people can download it and look at it in their own time. And you can do stuff with the video, and the video can be like just hold the camera up. You could be jogging through the park. You could be walking on the way to a meeting, and you just say, "This is how I feel today," or "This is what I'm working on." So it's a corporate space, so it's less about, "Oh, look at me, I'm having a smoothie," or "I'm in the gym working out," the kind of stuff that people post on Snapchat or Instagram stories. But share your truth, share your passion, share your projects.
Okay.
It feels like LinkedIn is a little bit more in-depth kind of platform. People do discuss a lot about principles, thoughts, learnings in a way. And when you look at these social media platforms right now, people's attention span right now is around 3 seconds, 7 to 3 seconds in a way.
Really?
Sometimes it's even less, because with TikTok right now, we don't have the latest studies, but with TikTok, if you just reflect on yourself, you'd be swiping, it takes you less than a second to see if this video is actually good or not, and swipe on that. And when it comes to that, it comes to the hook of the LinkedIn post.
Yeah.
How would you qualify a good hook? Because I've seen different creators, I've been analyzing a little bit on different posts right now since I gained interest in LinkedIn. How would you qualify a good hook, and how would you create it?
I'm not a big fan of these clickbaity hooks. Like, I'm so shocked that, and then you got to click down. So basically, on LinkedIn, there's the algorithm scores you different posts. Like, you get 1 point for a like, more, you get X amount of points for comments. But when someone clicks that see more button to see the rest of the post, you get points for that, right? So people often try and make it a bit clickbaity. I'm not really into that. I guess you just kind of want to. It's called a hook because you want to hook them in to read more. But what's my advice? I don't know. I don't really like to make it too clickbaity, because my stuff is more around the data space, and people generally come to my stuff to learn and be a little bit entertained. I try and intrigue them with some data aspect that's going to save them lots of time, or you're going to learn lots from this, which will help you analyze more data or draw more insight from your data.
And also on another point, when you compare it, I've been a little bit on Instagram and on TikTok before, and when I moved to LinkedIn, it's a little bit harder, because on Instagram you just think about something trendy, about something to share directly, but on LinkedIn you actually have to provide value, and some posts actually do take some time. I asked Mike Adams, which is also another LinkedIn influencer, and he says that it takes him around 20 minutes per day to edit and post his posts. And I remember you posting once a day or 6 times a week in a way for a long time. How do you schedule your LinkedIn posts, and how much time does it take you actually per day to work on these?
At the moment, I don't spend that much time, but when I was fully addicted, like last year, May, June, July, August, I was spending between 3 hours, 4 hours every single day. Yeah, 3 hours, 4 hours every single day.
And do you think that was a good investment?
Was that a good investment? If you ask my girlfriend, she would say no.
Absolutely not.
she used this, like, if she saw LinkedIn on my phone or my laptop, she'd be like, "You on LinkedIn?" But now she sees like me working with PepsiCo. Now she sees me flying to America to work with Microsoft. She can see that there has been some benefits of it. But what was your question about how much time do I spend on it?
Yeah. What is the scheduling process?
Oh, scheduling. So with LinkedIn, you don't have to create new content all the time, right? A lot of the big creators, they have got 3 months of content and they just recycle that each 3 months. And every now and again, they'll create some new content to go into it. And a lot of people aren't on LinkedIn every single day. So they might not notice that a lot of this content is 6 months, 12 months, maybe 18 months old if it's still relevant. So on LinkedIn, you can schedule posts. So before, I used to have, not anymore because I spend more time in the real world, but I used to be scheduled like 4 weeks, 5 weeks ahead.
Yeah.
Had all my posts like Monday to Sunday, all scheduled.
Talking about like the posts and everything, because we know TikTok, it's more about like quantity, like the amount of times you post. Would you say LinkedIn is more about like the quality of the content or quantity of the content?
It's the quality and the consistency.
Okay.
So, and when I say about quality, it's about the engagement. So how many people are commenting, how many people are liking, how many people are clicking that see more to effectively see more of the text. Yeah, quantity helps because if I post once a week and I know I'm getting, 20 followers per post, if I only post once a week, I'm only getting 20 followers. If I post 7 days a week, I'm getting 140, 150 followers, which is why I was hooked on the dopamine of constantly posting every single day. And then it was only over Christmas Eve. I took a break off to spend time with my family and my children. And then after a week, I was like, this is actually nice. Not checking my impressions. How many followers do I have? Commenting. I took 8 weeks off, and it was such a nice time. But now, ready to get back into content creation.
Moving on to the last question on LinkedIn.
Okay.
If you could give some tips. Some last tips. To early stage people who are not leveraging LinkedIn yet, what would you tell them?
Comment on the people in your network, comment to people in your tribe. Find your tribe. Find the people that are the biggest creators in your niche and connect with them. And if you connect with them with a connection request, don't send a blank connection request. I have 1,300 plus connection requests of people just sitting there waiting because they haven't said anything. And I can only have 30,000 connection requests, right? You can have unlimited followers, but only 30,000 connections. So I'm only going to connect with people that make an effort to say something. So if you connect, and it doesn't have to be, you don't have to write a whole essay, but something as simple as, I loved your content, learning a lot from it, let's keep the conversation flowing in the comments section. I send that most of the time, and then people accept. Otherwise, you're probably going to be getting ignored. Identify the top creators in your niche, connect with them, and post and be consistent. And whatever consistency means to you.
You've been also part of the Rebel meetups.
Yep.
Could you tell us a bit about it and what you guys provide? Because I know that there's a lot of people who organize events, networking events, but I know that also Rebel Meetups is a non-profit event. They don't charge entrepreneurs, and you organize events like, let's say, once a month. I'll let you talk about it.
Yeah, so Rebel Meetups was originally organized by, shout out to Ash Phillips. Yeah, so he's the guy that started it 10 years ago. He's adamant that it needs to be free. He doesn't want there to be any barriers to entry. He doesn't want £10, £20 to stop a young person or even an older person that just doesn't have that money to be able to go into these spaces, connect, learn, and grow from fellow freelancers, entrepreneurs, founders, because the founder entrepreneur journey can be a little bit lonely. Like, my girlfriend doesn't really care about the stuff that goes on with my business, and a lot of my friends, they're not in that world. Like, one of my best friends, he sells motorbikes. Another friend of mine is a plumber. They don't. When I try and talk to them about business, they just like, Richard, we don't care. So Rebel Meetups, you've got loads of people in the same space, and you've got a massive width and breadth of different types of people. So you've got like the entrepreneur that you spoke to earlier. That person might be in a corporate job. They don't want to jump ship just yet because they're a little bit worried about cash flow. And so they can connect with founders that have exited already. They've got the battle wounds, they've got the blood, sweat, and tears, stains all over their clothes to prove that they've been through this journey. And they can learn, and the great thing is they can learn from each other. So the entrepreneur can talk about the new trends that they're thinking about, and then the established founder can take them through the journey of acquiring funding, building a team, exit, etc.
And what is a great tip for entrepreneurs to be a great networker?
Sometimes when I see people at these meetups, there'll be a guy on his phone in the corner, and I'm like, dude, you come through to a networking event and you just sit. I would say, do not be afraid to interrupt any conversation, because these people are open-minded. They're coming. She's saying, no, don't interrupt.
No, the thing is, I can't. Like, if I see two people talking, I'll just like stand there and be like,
Okay,
waiting until
next
they
networking
finish.
event you go to, you need to practice. There's two different ways of doing it. You can just be super ballsy and walk straight in and say, what are you guys talking about?
Okay.
Or you can say, do you mind if I join? Very rarely people will say, sorry, we're having a private conversation. Very rarely. Or you can just listen in the background, see what they're talking about. I did this the other day. There was two people talking about the BNI networking organization. And I was like, oh, I want to join BNI. I've been thinking about, oh, hi guys, sorry to interrupt. I heard you talking about BNI. I've been thinking about joining it. And she was like, oh yeah, I am the leader of the Holborn branch. And there's a bit of a waiting list, but we hold breakfasts every 6:30 and Tuesday. I can get you in if you want. And great. So now I've got a connection. I was like, yeah, we should connect on LinkedIn. And she was like, whoa, we've got 20,000 followers. Yeah, you should come on. So don't be afraid to interrupt people. I find a good question to ask. Don't ask, what do you do? Ask, what brings you here? Because that's a bit more insightful, because someone might be in a corporate job and you say, what do you do? And they end up waffling on about this corporate job. But if you say, what brings you here? Why are you here? Then they're going to start to talk about that thing that they want to gain from, the value they want to glean from being in that room.
At the end of the day, it always comes to a good question in a way. Just like you mentioned, you found someone from a good networking event or some good exclusive breakfast just because you asked. And in the past 5 months with OnlyFounders, we've been to more than 100 networking events because we want to kind of rank them and find the best ones and what makes actually a good networking event. And in the beginning, I came with a perception of I want to learn about networking events and I want to just rank them. But eventually, with time, every person that I met was someone incredible on its own. And you learn so much things just by asking questions and socializing.
Yeah, no, you're right. I agree. And the thing, I'm a big fan of everybody on this earth can teach you something. The road sweep, the homeless person, up to the CEO, everybody can teach you something, even if it's teaching you something about a journey or experience they've gone through. So if you approach every conversation with someone can teach me something, and always offer help first before asking for help. So you might find someone who you think, oh, they can be really helpful for my business, and you're really keen to be like, oh, can you help me do this? Don't be that guy that asks for help first. When you meet someone and you think there could be a collaboration opportunity, always ask to support them in some way first. And then when you build that trust, and even offering to do so, kind of presents you as a helpful person from the outset, and then they're more likely to help you as and when you need that help.
Yeah, don't come with a salesperson mindset.
Yeah.
That doesn't help at all in
Leave that at
networking
the
events.
door.
I personally been to just one last week. It was amazing, by the way.
Thank you.
Really good speakers. And I think that brings me to my question. How do you, okay, we know that you have this big network like LinkedIn, but how do you manage to get all the these amazing people to speak?
I use LinkedIn and I use these big group chats that I'm on. So I'm on a group chat of 400 MBA grads through my MBA. And there's brain surgeons, there's chess grandmasters, there's solution architects of different banks, there's all sorts of different people and personalities. So that's a treasure trove of potential speakers. I'm also on a entrepreneurial group chat called Blocks to Bags, and that's just full of founders, creatives, and I just posted on there would anyone like to speak? and my DMs are just popping. Ping, 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 loads of, and it's like, okay, let me tell this person, wow, this person's like a confidence coach. Wow, this person's done collabs with Sky Sport. Wow, this person's done collabs with Louis Vuitton. And it's like all these amazing people, all willing to talk. And we're not paying anybody for any of these. They're just coming and talking because they're just passionate about sharing their journey, sharing their experiences.
Interesting. You organize these events how many times per year, let's say?
Every first Monday of the month. And I've got homegrown, shout out to Jessica Barwell. Thank you so much for letting me use your space. You're amazing. Yeah, homegrown, great venue, beautiful venue, a little bit bougie, but in a nice way. We've got that booked up for every first Monday of the month throughout the whole year.
Interesting. And one of the things that I've encountered while going to all of these networking events is sometimes you go and meet a lot of these people, and then how you have a lot of opportunities to connect with a lot of interesting people and maybe have a lot of partnership with them. But how would you select the best ones and follow up with them?
Sometimes you meet someone and they might be the best connection for 2 years from now. So you don't know who's the best until you actually, when you need their support or you need their help. But a tip that I had from Mike Adams actually is that when you connect with somebody, follow up with a LinkedIn message and just kind of like, not summarize the conversation, but touch on what they do and touch on some sort of common ground, so that when you do need to collab with them, you can go in your LinkedIn messages and type what that thing that they do. So if they work in law, oh, great to hear about the stuff you do in the legal sector, blah, 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 blah. So that when you, because sometimes I'm not good at remembering people's names and I'm like, damn, what was that guy's name or what was that lady's name? So if you type in what they do in that kind of space, then it will pop up. So you can effectively use LinkedIn as a CRM.
I've been really interested by the podcast of The Diary of a CEO of Stephen Bartlett, and I actually got his conversation cards. We don't want to do the same tradition in his podcast, and we're asking questions from the previous guest because you're the first guest.
Oh, yeah, I am the first
So
guest.
we want you to select one of these cards randomly.
Dum, dum, dum.
It's like a magic trick, like the one
Yeah.
that's like, select the card.
And that's going to be our follow-up question because you are so good of a host.
To pick the first one or?
No, select anyone.
Anyway.
Yeah, you can cut it.
So I'm asking you this, or you're asking me?
Oh, no, I'm asking you.
Oh, okay. Hopefully it's not too awkward.
You're asking him.
I'm asking it. Okay.
Go for it.
Is it ever appropriate to hurt someone's feelings?
Is it ever appropriate to hurt someone's feelings? Yes.
Really?
Yeah, you might have to hurt someone's feelings because in relationships, like if somebody's making sexual advances at you and you don't find them attractive, you gotta let them down. Sorry, not interested. And that might hurt their feelings. Same in business world, if someone wants to work with you and you don't see a collaboration that's like productive or fruitful, you just say, sorry, I can't see it working. Or you might try and sugarcoat it. I'm busy, sorry. But sometimes like people appreciate being direct, and you might hurt their feelings in the short term, but in the long term, it's probably better for both parties.
You cannot satisfy everyone at the end of the day. You gotta set your boundaries and go with your own personality, and then whatever happens, happens. It's been a really interesting podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Really happy to have you on this
Pleasure.
podcast. Thanks you for helping us understand a little bit more about the entrepreneurial world.
You're
If you
welcome.
can leave with some last tips for early stage entrepreneurs and in general, what would you tell them?
It's not going to be easy. There'll be times when you feel shit and you think, I can't do it anymore, I give up. That's when you need to pull your socks up, stand up, and keep going. Because we all have those moments when we question why are we doing what we're doing, and you need to come back to your why and your passion and your purpose. If you have your passion and your purpose aligned with what you do, then you'll have the energy and love to thrive and continue.
Thank you again.
Thank you.
I just came with that up on the spot. I'm good.
Amazing. That was
Amazing.
amazing.
Thanks, guys. The thing is, it's easy to learn when the person teaching it is passionate about it, is enthusiastic, and makes it relatable. So there's a few creators. Mike Gervin, XO is Fun YouTube channel. That guy's an absolute legend. His videos are funny. Like he calls the crosshair the angry rabbit.